Mike Mohler. He is the Deputy Director of Communications for the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. Thanks so much for joining us. I want to start here with California Governor Gavin Newsom today declaring a statewide emergency due to the fires, but also extreme weather conditions. So if you could tell us, how much trouble are the high winds causing firefighters?
No, absolutely, and thank you for having me. But as you can see, Governor Newsom, his staff have been engaged from the start of this. For him to declare a state of emergency, that's statewide, is because what we're seeing is not a wind condition. We're about to see a wind storm across the state of California, seeing some of the strongest winds right now in the northern portion of the state, which will transition down to the southern portion down near the Tick fire area.
Mike, are the planned blackouts helpful?
Well, you know, the utilities have a job to do. We have to remember first responders don't preemptively ask for them to shut the power down. It adds a layer of something that we have to work with. Our most important part is evacuating the public prior to these fires hitting any type of neighborhood. And yes, the power shutdowns can play a major role, so we adjust for that, we staff for that, and we get out into those communities. Because
you're trying to get the residents out before the power shuts off.
And that's correct. And we want to work with them prior to the wind event hitting.
So I mean, of course, everybody wants to know when they can return home, those who did evacuate. I'm not sure if that's a premature question at this time.
You know, I use the term we're cautiously optimistic, but unfortunately, just within the last 2 hours on the Kincaid fire, we registered a gust of almost 97 miles an hour. So again, not just here in Northern California, but statewide, the public needs to be prepared. This is a call to action. Unfortunately, not foreign to California, but we're in for some very extreme weather conditions.
And what's the call to action?
Is to be prepared. If you're asked to leave, do so early. And this is not only for your safety, but it's also for the safety of the first responders, so we can get in there and protect your property.
And what about the horses and livestock? I mean, have y'all been able to rescue them or take them to safe areas?
A great question. So yes, large animal rescue always poses an issue as far as getting people out. But what we ask the community, the public, if you do have large animals, even if you have a sense of smoke or any type of fire in your area, get prepared. Fairgrounds, there's a lot of areas that have designated large animal refuge. Get your animals there early. Again, it all falls back to that plan you should have with your family.
And of course, we can't control the weather, but what's the state of planning in terms of preventing these ravenous wildfires from causing such widespread devastation in the future?
Well, I can tell you again, from the first day of Governor Newsom's administration, in fact, one of his first press conferences was at our Colfax fire station here in Northern California, was prevention. The amount of investment by the administration into really preventing wildfires, you know, forest health and management, but also reaching out and working with the public as a partner. Yes, we have community education, but as we know in the past 5 years in California, these fires are not the new normal. Unfortunately, we're going to see these conditions for years to come, and that investment in prevention is what we're looking at.
Tell us how collecting ponderosa pine cones in New Mexico can help restore the fire-scarred landscapes.
Well, again, not super familiar with what they're looking at, but the seedlings of a native vegetation or that type of landscape. We have to look at that across the state. Under the state responsibility area, we have 33 million acres. CAL FIRE has always been a leader in forest management and forest health, but again, we have not gotten out of this 6-year drought in this state. Those dead and dying fuels are still scattered across the landscape, still impact areas where we're seeing wildfires. And it's something that, again, the governor has leaned forward, and we've taken an aggressive approach. And that prepositioning of resources across the state has also played a major role. We've seen hundreds of fires ignite under this wind condition. We're talking about 2 major fires. So again, 2 out of hundreds is really a success rate.
Sure. I mean, listen, no doubt the firefighters there, first responders, you're all doing a great job fighting the blazes that break out. And you said that the Governor Newsom is also leaning forward in terms of prevention. And you said that you would like help, federal help from that. I believe that President Trump says that he's willing to help if he knows what your plan is. So do you have a specific plan in terms of prevention to present to him?
Well, you know, again, I can't comment exactly on that. I'm talking about current operations and prevention that's been done not only this year but in years past. But, you know, the governor issued a 45-day report, which is accessible online on the governor's website. Within that, an emergency proclamation was issued on key 35 projects. So if you look at the governor's investment and his plan, it's there. It's on the state's governor's website of exactly where we are and where we're going is really the investment that the administration's made.
Well, Mike Mohler, we wish you well. We hate seeing these horrible images of people's homes and some people's livelihoods going up in smoke. So good luck to you and to all the crews out there. Mike Mohler, thank you.